Basement jacks, razor cane, because that sounds cool. Anyway, I know this is like the 3rd or 5th topping video in a row, but we got to get these things moving because everybody releases at the same time. This is the topping DX7 Pro Plus 2022 edition. Actually, it doesn't have the 2022, but I reviewed the very small one. You remember the little, it was MX5, was the little tiny one? And I'm like, ooh, they went with this new design. Ooh, this new fancy design. It's got rounded edges and everything. But now this one is $700, and you're either staying now for the rest of the view or leaving, because that's not a budget piece. Although, if you compare it to what it costs for like a D90 A90D stack, that's a bargain. Not as much power as the A90D. That thing has nearly 10 watts a channel. This 2 watts a channel, 1900 milliwatts. It's nice. It's a nice amount of power. And as you can tell from the back of it, which is jam-packed with jam-packed with things, this is a DAC amp combo. So you don't have to worry about getting 2 things. You get the 1 thing. And then you can plug other things into it. I've got the Rebel amp down here in its beautiful greenness. I got the Geshelli E2 Erish 2 here with the wood case. I've got this video sponsored by Periapt cables, because look, Periapt now makes speaker cables with these nice little connectors on the end of it. And actually, they also sell raw wire. Where's my raw wire? I actually got a bunch of their raw wire. It's a Magomi. Magomi manufactures this for Periapt, and it's 14 gauge. And I asked them for some, and I wired up my entire secondary home theater, the one that actually uses amplifiers and not self-powered speakers. So you can buy this, or you can buy the pre-made speaker cables individually by the side, by the way, because people are a little bit confused because it says like from $45. That's $45 each, because these things are handmade in America. So if you're interested in Periapt speaker cables, link in the description. Also, I want to thank Periapt as being one of the sponsors taking me to SoCal Can Jam. Because it's always New York Can Jam or Chicago Can Jam, but now it's SoCal Can Jam or Can Jam SoCal. Take your pick. Also, almost all of the headphones I'm going to be using today are using Periapt cables. This is what they're really known for. These are the special Z-Reviews ones. So yeah, check out Periapt, the sponsor for this video. Boom. Get over the fact that they label their things very strangely. And let's move on to that. Available exclusively on APOS. So, as you can see, I've already added a sticker to the top of it. Nothing too brash or anything. Just needed to get the dreariness out of it. I love this new design as far as the shape goes. You get the black fascia that comes in black or gray, but unlike the really nice silver that the A90D is, and the A90D is indisposed of at the bottom of a very tall stack right now. But you know, the silver is nice. It's a nice silver on the A90D. This is just gray and black with like a silver center of the knob for the volume here. Nice screen also. So I just put some color. I needed some color. Need some color. Splash of color to keep it from being dreary. Color. Wood. Gray. So other than the looks, look, it looks very modern. It looks very, I'm going to date myself in knowing this movie, it looks very Sleeper. If you've never seen the movie Sleeper starring Woody Allen, that's a very, like, this is the future. And this feels like it's the future as far as the shape of it goes. But it was just, trying to film a video of it, staring at a gray square is not fun, so waifus. Anyway, I've got, 2 amplifiers hooked up to the output of this using world's best cables. I have got, the headphones are the ones I had previously for that mod. Well, actually, no, wait, not previously. You haven't seen it yet. But there's a video with mods coming up for the HiFiMan HER9 and the HiFiMan R7DX, and I took out the lovely and amazing COS KPH 40s. Wow, I had to think about that for a second. It was my 30s, 20s, 40s, Pro AAs. No. Which are currently using Deconi pads. Deconi now makes pads for Porta-Pros that work on KPH 40s, and I've done some modifications to them with a hole punch to try to just things coming up. And these from Mimic Cable. Mimic Cables have loaned me the purple edition of the Fostex TH900, which is still rocking the stock pads, and a purple Periapt cable. It all makes perfect sense. Perfect, but you get it. All right. So, what No, really, Zeo, so what? Why am I here? I'm still here. I made it through this entire long-ass intro. You're pimping out cables. You're doing other things. Why should I care about this? Because there was a DX7 a while ago, and it was the answer to the topping D90, A90 stack. It was like, if you didn't want to pay for the stack, you got the DX7. And it was a little bit underpowered, but it was decent. I kept it for probably well over a year and a half before I sold it in a yard sale. By the way, patronage... for $10 a month, you get to join me in Patreon and Subscribestar and message me directly and ask me any questions. People don't stay to the end to find that out. But you can. You get into a private behind-the-scenes Telegram chat. But the original DX7 was good enough. It was just something to throw out there to be like a good combo. And it beat like half the combos that shit makes, and it beat most of the combos that SMSL makes, and it was like pretty damn great. So now this one shows up, 2022, released like 3 days ago, and I want to read you, there's one specific image that is on APOS, and it's the differences between the original DX7 Pro and the new Pro Plus. Again, creative naming is dead. So a better Bluetooth model, who cares? Although LDAC. Let's see, 57% less noise or through the DAC output, 70% less noise through the headphone output, 50% lower noise floor total, and then over 100% more power out of the headphone amp. The last one only did 840 milliwatts times 2 at 32 ohms. This does 1900 out of the balanced output, and 320 at 2 ohms at 300 ohm load. So there's that. Output impedance went from 4.7 to 0.1, which is what most amps with the lowest possible output impedance. And the crosstalk is now negative 120 dB, which is like doesn't exist. So great and grassed improvements over the previous model. And it's not cheap. I would never call something that's $700 cheap. All right, I came from a land where like a $100 headphone lasted me like 6 years, 9 years. I don't know. I thought $100 was all I ever had to spend on audio. I remember those days. It's hard to imagine them, but I remember them. Anyway, I've got these plugged into it now, and I know for a fact my TH909s, which are somewhere floating. Actually, they're over there on top of the thing. I know that they're very hard to please, and so are the 900s as far as hard to please amplification. So when I plug these in, I plug those in, and I plug these in, I'm like, all right, am I going to be disappointed by the Fostex TH900 purples when I plug them into this? And the answer is no. The answer's been no. Everything I plugged into it so far has not disappointed. It is still not the powerhouse that is the A90D. This doesn't replace that. In fact, it could be the thing you buy with this, although then the models don't match, because now you've got a really cool rounded edge versus the old school style topping fascia. So really batching those two together is not as nice as you would think on a desk, although performance-wise it'd be amazing. But as far as like good amplification, you know, all-in-one, because that's the thing. I'm trying to think about all-in-ones that have this sort of price range. I know the IFI Neo IDST, the one you could stand vertical. I know I love that one. If we go a little bit cheaper, we got the Aoun X1S GT 10th anniversary, I think that was, which again, not as much power as this, and probably less quality in like the DAC end of it. What people are actually going to be concerned about with these is it's got some functions in there. It can do valve sound, which is what a tube amp is. That's a valve. And it can do transistor sound, which confuses me because isn't everything that's not a tube a transistor? People who understand this better than me, please, in the comments. So you can actually force it to do tube sound or transistor sound. And in fact, I think I have it set on, and that's PLLO. I have it set to valve sound. So I've been listening to it, sound mode off, valve sound, transistor sound are off. I've been sitting here flipping between different amplifiers coming out of the DACs, different headphones into the unit, and I really don't feel that difference. If you're like gonna buy this because it has valve mode, don't. All right, it's not a blatant. I wish it was kind of blatant, but at the same time, I feel like maybe there's a headphone out there that could actually sing to me in a way that I'm like, oh, I get it now. It feels kind of like when I was flipping through filters, like the digital PCM filters. Like, all right, well, it's brick wall versus linear. It's like, I'm sure it's doing something, but is it something that I'm noticing? Is it something worth spending money on? Not really. I mean, how much better do you want than Fostex CH100s for a testing bed? So I've got this coming out of the balance because, as you guys know, or you should know, the Erish is purely balanced in, purely balanced out from Gishai Labs. That's a company out in Florida. And what are we running to that? We're running these, the R9s, the unmodified R9s, which are just... So now we've got P plus L. I don't want that. I want the line out only, which then pushes it to 0. Yeah. I just sort of set up as much as I could into this unit to show you what you could do with it. Because I think if you're in the marketplace for a DAC amp combo and you have the sort of money we're throwing around here and you need just one unit and you have other things, like those speakers back there, the Abram Techs, I could have easily hooked those up to the RCA out. I just decided I wanted to hear the Rebel amp instead of listening to speakers on it. But you could absolutely hook up speakers, hook up powered monitors to it. Use this as a preamp to control everything. And then you actually have the option to either output through the RCA or the XLR, and not both. Like right now it's doing both. You can tell they'll not do both. You have to get into the secret menu for that. Let's do a quick tour of the unit. Zeos timestamps. Zeos always forgets timestamps in the future. He has to sit there watching it. Then he has to guess when a chapter is going to start. He's like, I think I'm about to say something. And then if I didn't, erase that timestamp. Or if I did start something, figure out how to title it. Yeah, YouTubing is great. So the back of this has, I don't want to rest it on the volume knob because it's going to switch settings. I've got this big ugly $15 power plug, which just looks better than a normal shitty power plug. You have a permanent switch back here for on and off, which I'm going to have to use in a second to get to the menu. And then we have trigger in and out on the back of this unit. That's another thing that we had on the A90, oh, not sorry, yeah, A90D, was a 12 volt trigger, which I described in that video. And basically it's just you plug a 3.5 millimeter mono into this, and you could have other devices either turn this on or this turn other devices on. And actually, since it has in and out, and the other one only had one, you could run this in the center, have a unit you turn on that then turns this on, and then have this unit when it turns on, turn on something else. It's great for projectors and things, but my projector unfortunately doesn't have it. As you can see, I have the AES out plugged in. We've got the Bluetooth antenna installed. I don't have the USB running because I just didn't want to do USB. Fiber optics back here, coaxial digitals here, II2S is this blue bastard. All of these are coming out of the Singzer. What are you? SU6? I think it's the SU6 or SU8. It's that unit that is USB to the computer and then like 19 different digital outputs. It's great. Fantastic thing. I've got these Eminence-ended world's best RCAs going to the Rebel amp because this only has single-ended input. And I've got these world's best XLRs going to the E2 because that only has balanced input. See how this works? Everything is good. Also, one little problem. If I put this towards the back of the table off this Grovemade stand, which I'm going to keep mentioning this in every video because I want them to send me more stuff and sponsor me. Anyway, affiliate link to Grovemade in the comments or in the description. With all that stuff plugged in, if you give this just the slightest little, it's like if you fill up a pickup truck all the way near the back and you start driving along, and all of a sudden you hit a little bump. Oh shit, like that. If I unplug the headphones, it's like a lowrider. Bump, 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 bump. So I've been pulling it forward to try to rest some of that cable weight on the desk or whatever you're using it on. The unit's not super heavy. It's not built like crap, but I mean, power plugs and XLRs and RCAs and coaxial digitals, and if you plug it into everything, it's gonna. Oh, I put this sticker on, right? Because it's a much nicer sticker than the ones that were on it. The ones that were on it were these high-res stickers. Just talk about ruining the look of a unit. Just put high-res audio stickers on it. I got today in the mail the IFI Go bar, which looks like a gold bar because it's literally made of like the shiniest gold material. There's a fucking high-res audio sticker on it. It's made of gold. Literally gold. Why are you putting on high-res? No shit, it's high-res audio. High-res audio doesn't even mean anything. It's better than MQA because at least I could peel that sticker off. But yeah, there you go. So just be cautious of the don't plug everything in the back. I could use a shittier power cable, would help also. Front of the unit, now that I've plugged this back in, 4.4 here, 4 pin here, 1/4 inch there, all gold connectors. You get your OLED screen. It says DX7 Pro Plus there. You got a nice protruding knob. Now I have it up on the Grovemate stand so I could reach my hand underneath it. If this was on a desk like that high off the ground, it's a little less, like this is a huge honking knob on the Rebel amp. It's one of the reasons I love it so much. I love honking knobs. But here you're gonna be a little more dainty with it than if you have it like hanging off the front or something. But it's a digital knob, so you could actually turn, you see the numbers, counts down. It goes, I think it goes down to 99, yeah, 99. And you could actually set it, so right now it's going one decibel, and when we got under 50, then it's half decibels. One of the settings we're gonna be able to play with is if that goes to half decibels or stays at 1 decibel. Like, I don't need that option, but it's got it. So the front here shows me everything going on. Currently we're on the II2S input, output to the RCA and XLR in the rear, PCM in, we're at full tilt digital volume zeros, 44.1 input coming from the computer. Watchman who murdered Hollis Mason. So that's fine. Now this is controlling the output of the RCA and the XLR. So these two amplifiers are being controlled by this. We can disable that, I believe, if I go and get into the secret menu. Before we get there, let's look at the remote. It's a standard topping RC15A. There's, I know. Like how many remotes are there? Zeos? Lots. So up, down is volume. Left and right are input, mute, standby. You can stand by the unit by, I believe, just pressing and holding it. It says see you. And then you say Space Cowboy. I do it every fucking time. And you put it on, and then it says topping. And then I say Space Cowboy because it's just the II2S. We're currently playing. What's currently playing? This is off. We've got the hi-fi mins here, and we've got these. Can I just put these on and listen for the rest of this video? Because let me tell you, Class A Rebel amp, KPH40s with modified Dakoni pads. Que bella. Slide you back a little bit. So I can adjust the volume now currently here. The center button does one thing. It brings you to pre-out and line out. So literally phone out and line out. It says PO for phone. So now front and rear are both playing. Everything's playing currently, and there's a separate volume knob for everything. Why you would want all that, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe if you're one of those people who puts a subwoofer out and you want a headphone out, maybe you want that. Because you're going to set the headphones, which is the most important part of the volume control, and your lineouts are either going to be reduced or you're going to have to crank them up. So, but that's what the center button, the most important button, does that. If you don't want that, you have the choice between headphone out, line out. So I want to do headphone out is just the purple TH900s, and it says II2S to PO, phone out, hit line out. It says XLR RCA, hit line out again. It says RCA, only RCA goes. Hit XLR, only XLR goes. So you could have XLRs hooked up to studio monitors, RCAs hooked up to an old vintage amplifier that you listen to music in another room on, and then you could switch between them, both of them on, or you could do headphone out. So it's nice and convenient. And it's all located right here in this button. Now you can get to all the settings in here. Here's the filter settings, PCM filters. I actually cut the menu in half. This is the manual, and I cut it in half to get rid of half the Chinese side, which still makes it this long. Jesus. So yeah, filters, DSD filters, IS2 phase filters. So what did I have it set to? I like fast roll off corrected minimum. That's number 7. Let's put away this fucking roadmap from a goddamn National Lampoon's movie. Let's go to filter 7. Boom. I can't actually hear a difference. M is menu, which we'll get to in a second. Auto is for the 12-volt trigger in the back, or the on-off. So auto off means don't auto off ever. Just if I turn you on, leave you on, fuck you. Then there's auto signal, which means if there's nothing playing. If I switch this to USB, I did this several times. You plug it in, defaults to USB after it loses power. So I turned it on, and within 30 seconds, it's off. Or a minute, it's off. It's like, oh, there's no signal. Oh, I'm going to turn off now. Bye. So you can have it at the signal. If you have something actually plugged in and playing, it'll play, and it'll actually wake up if it falls asleep, and it'll wake up if there's new signal, and that's kind of a nice feature. And then there's trigger, which uses the triggers in the back to turn it on. So we're going to leave that on off. Leave it on off. And then you have your brightness setting, which is basically auto, low, medium, high. And auto means it goes to medium, and then after 30 seconds, it will only turn on a little pixel in the corner to indicate that it's on, because there's no other LEDs in this. Isn't it nice? And there's no other LEDs. It's just a screen. Obviously, if the screen's on, it's on. I don't need LEDs unless they're coloring the background, which is nice. Now the M, the manual, the manual menu, you get PCM filter. Can I not navigate this with this? So you can. Do I double press? Apparently pressing this just switches through. I guess when you hit the M button on this, you have to use the remote. Yeah, so PCM filter, DSD filter, gain, low and high. There's actually a huge discrepancy between low and high. I've been running these on low gain. Nowhere near needing, I'm like 20 decibels down. That's rear. If I go to the headphone out. Yeah, I'm at 18 decibels down on low gain, and we're pushing the 900s just fine. These are not hard to drive. What were the hardest headphones I put on this? Probably the big old planars I had. And I still didn't need to put it on high gain. So 2 watts is a lot. So, but now back to the menu. So you have gain, low, or high. That's where the center button actually comes in to switch back and forth. So I'm leaving it on low. Actually, there's a click when you put it on high. Then you get the sound mode option, which is number 4, which is valve sound or transistor sound. I wish I could tell. It was one of those things I was kind of hoping this would have a huge difference in sound, and I'd be able to dedicate 20 minutes of boring commentary and fucking waxing lyrical about how the valve sound does that. Maybe there's a difference. Maybe there's not. Maybe there'll be a firmware update. Maybe there won't be. Don't know. Anyway, the menu keeps escaping real fast. So sound mode I'm leaving off, and you actually do get a balance adjustment, which I know several people who are hard of hearing in one ear. They still love music. And to adjust balance in like every program in Windows or in Windows in general is a pain in the ass. Or maybe you're not using it, maybe using Bluetooth. And this actually does do, I think, 10 decibels of correction from left to right. So you can, in half decibel increments. So you can just like, I know my father's more hard of hearing than other. He was listening to a set of headphones. I'd be like, boop, 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 boop. Bias it left or right. I forget at this moment. But you can actually adjust the balance. So those are 5 settings. 5. I'm going to turn the unit off now, if I can reach my finger in here. Okay. The secret menu, and this is every topping, and I'm so glad I figured it out because it sucks when you can't. You hold down the power button here with the back switch off, and you turn on the back switch, and then we get into the real menu, the 19 options menu. In fact, I'm going to take the camera off my head and see if I can film this. Let's see, here we go. That films much better than the M50 that I did 2 days ago. So we have auto, which is the same as the signal, trigger, or off, display on high, gain low, output PO. So you can choose output LO, PO, or LO or PO. So phones out, line out. So if you lose a remote, you can get into this. Well, actually, yeah, okay, I could navigate this with the knob. I wasn't sure, like if you lose the remote, I'll send you one because I have like 15 of these. So line out is either pre or DAC. So I could actually set it to DAC mode because both of these have their own volume controls. So I don't need to have this be a preamp right now. Line out, you could choose RCA, XLR, or both. I want both. Bluetooth, you can completely disable Bluetooth. I'm actually not using Bluetooth or plan to use it during this review, so I could turn that off. That's fine. Then you have the DAC mode is either asynchronous or synchronous. It comes default asynchronous. I'm going to put it on synchronous just because. Why not? This is America. Then you have your PCM filters, your DSD filters. Those are available in the regular menu. Then you have your phase clock for the II2S, which luckily that Singzer is standard as a standard output. So I don't have to worry about this. I'm actually dropping the GoPro. So the phase and the clocks and the flags are all fine. You can disable the infrared receiver. Hold on. I hit it, but I won't save it until I leave the menu. So I can literally turn off the remote if I wanted to. Again, if you have multiple of this remote specifically, you can just disable that. Volume step, you can do half decibel or 1 decibel. I'm gonna go half decibel. Let's go all the way half. And then you have your sound mode, valve, transistor, or off, balance, save and exit, and factory reset. So boom, save and exit. It's gonna restart the entire unit. Let me see what the actual volume does. II2S is my input, 44.1 is my input. La 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 la. So now if I go Yep, even up to 70s, I get half to. Oh wait, it no longer goes to 99. It now only goes to 74. Interesting, 74 and a half. So that's a weird quirk of changing the settings. So let's see. We're on phones out, which is these. God, I forgot. I don't own TH900s, by the way. Just want to point this out. I don't own them. I own 909s. When Fostex sent me those, or AMS sent me those, and they're like, hey, you want to buy these? You know, we'll give you like 40% off. I'm like, that's still $1,100. And I bought them. But I've never owned 900s. Companies have sent to me. People have sent it to me. Mimic Cable sent these to me. And I'm just like, do I want to own these? Because they're purple. So even all the way down, I'm still hearing music coming out of that. Barely, but it's coming out. Much more knob turn to get it, because it's at half decibel increments the entire way up. Oh yeah. This would have destroyed minds fucking 5 years ago. This would have been the greatest audio device in planet Earth. Arion entanglement. God, the TH100 thump. Yeah, so that's basically, we took the Tor. How much more touring? Let's mute it. It says mute when you mute it. It's $700. It's I would have no problem existing if Z Reviews had to get rid of everything, all right? It's a massive blowout sale. Everything's got to go. Does this replace tube amps? No, the valving doesn't do that. Does it replace almost every DAC I've got? Yeah. I have no problem with the DAC output of this, it either single-ended or balanced, taking over all the duties as a DAC. This could be the only unit I have on Z Reviews, and I'd be able to continue my job of reviewing headphones and speakers and IEMs and things like, oh, not speakers particularly because it can't amplify, but if I had to send a DAC data to another amplifier, I'd be fucking fine with this. It could power 94% of the headphones in my house. I wouldn't throw the 880, 600 ohms on it, because the single-ended output is less than the balanced, and it's already not like a powerhouse. People ask me to test those on the A90D. I'm sure there'll be a future video where I do that. Don't worry about it. But everything, like anything else in this table, especially shit like this, it's super easy to run. In fact, let's unplug this from this beautiful Periopt cable. Thank you for sponsoring this video and sponsoring my trip to SoCal. So they get all the shout-outs now. Plug this in here. We have gain on low. I'm going to, what are we playing? Yoko Kanno? Okay. What a beautiful headphone. I have, other than the looks being a bit drab, what would I change on this? What's lacking? A VU meter would be nice. Like, I'm starting to like scrape the bottom of the barrel for complaints these days, especially with topping products. The last thing I did, the little M50 that just blew my mind that it was so small and so powerful. And I should have plugged the M50 in to feed this USB, and then I could have had just a tap. Then I could have run this into the other fucking topping amp, and it just been a topping orgy over here. And I got LA90s too, just throw that in there. So yeah, no. This absolutely default DAC amp combo, but you need a budget over $500. That's all. If this was $399, which it will never ever be, so don't wait for it, it would be the most stupid easy choice of anyone's decision. It'd be like, oh yeah, okay, just buy this. Just buy this. There'd be nothing else to buy. Why would you buy that? Why would you buy that? Would you buy this? But you know, they've done an amazing, topping is literally win after win after win, and they're not even paying me. Like APOS is sending me this stuff, and I have an affiliate link for them, so I'll make some money if you buy it. Catch me in the lie where this is not good. Go ahead, look through the specs, get one, and analyze it. There's nothing bad about it. We've hit this like plateau of goodness, where there was like this seething hatred pit of despair that was coming around like 5 years ago, where there was some products that just really sucked. Now we're not there anymore. Everything's good. Look at this little topping stack here. Topping stack there. X2O tube amps have all reached peak. It's time to retire, boys and girls. Zeos is going to start his own yacht company. We're going to take you on grand tours for audiophilia, and we can go eat deep sea fish in the sea, some illegal sword fishing, and gambling. Lots of gambling. Drugs too. This is a great idea. I'm selling the house right now. Wallpaper in the description. Actually, not in the description, because God knows YouTube is a piece of shit. And they're like, we saw a wallpaper that had breasts. I'm like, yeah, no shit. And they're like, well, we're going to give you a community guidelines warning. And I'm like, okay, goodbye all wallpapers. So you can get to this in the wallpaper horde or the little link. You can get to this on Apos. You can get to these headphones wherever the hell I link them. You can get to these cables from Periapt. God, just the purple on the purple and the purple. What else I got to talk about? Anything else? No. Patreon, subscribe, start, see reviews early. Participate in yard sales. We've got that $10,000 live stream coming up. For those of you who don't know, I had a big yard sale, sold like $12,000 worth of stuff, made back a bunch of money, and now we're going to spend that money on things that you guys want, and we're going to pick it live. I'm not going to buy it live because that seems dangerous, but I'm going to pick it live. We're going to go through and we're going to have discussions with chat. It's going to be great. There'll be a whole super chat thing going on. We'll see if we could beat some of the VTubers with my super chat. I highly doubt it. But we'll do that. We'll pick that live. We've got a lot of purchasing coming up. We've got SoCal Can Jam coming up in September. If you're in the Orange County area, feel free to stop by. I think it's $40 for the weekend, like the whole weekend, to hear everything you want to hear. So I'll be running around there with an entourage, I'm sure. And links to Geshelli Labs and links to Rebel Amp, who is Ukrainian. And I think the prices went from $500 to $660. And also they're backlogged for weeks because of literally fucking war. So, but I will link to Rebel Amp. They're out there. And I think I'm done. Patreon, subscribe, start, see reviews early, participate in yard sales, lossless sound demos, $10 a month. I said already in the video was the patronage chat, where you can ask me any questions you like. And you get into lifetime swap meet chat when you're in there, so you can just post and sell and trade your gear. I'm slurring my speech because I haven't had coffee. When I had coffee, I was on the ball. Now I'm just like lazy. Lazy Zeos doing a lazy review. And not bad lazy, just like, well, there's nothing to complain about other than the drab color, which I absolutely fixed with an anime waifu. So I'll see you all in, what, 2 days? 2 days. 2 days, waifu days.